get some of that good Snoop weed?
I've smoked with Unc before, yeah.
Yeah.
Lauren had already admitted she was close with Snoop, and at first everyone took it as harmless. But now, new footage of the two together is setting off conversations all across hip-hop. Some say it proves there was a deeper connection, maybe even that she played a role in something bigger. Here's the breakdown. Snoop and Lauren London. A single clip of them standing side by side had the entire community buzzing. It wasn't Snoop cracking jokes or doing his usual chill Uncle Snoop persona. It was him and Lauren, the woman who carried Nipsey Hussle's legacy after his passing. Lauren wasn't just someone grieving, she became the face of Nip's memory. From her emotional speech at the Staples Center to her powerful Bet tribute, she represented Nipsey's entire impact. Anyone who stood next to her didn't just stand next to Lauren, they stood next to Nip's legacy. After his passing, she became the public voice of everything he left behind.
Yeah, but you don't know till it's at your front door. I always say the front is different.
The way she honored him made her the symbol of his legacy. Brands featured her in tribute campaigns, award shows trusted her with the MIC, and documentaries relied on her voice to tell Nipsey's story. She wasn't everywhere because she chased attention. The culture placed her there. People wanted to hear Nip's story through her eyes. That changed her position. She became more than a partner. She became a central figure. Standing next to Lauren meant standing inside Nip's legacy. That's why the clip caused so much noise. Proximity mattered. In a moment where Nip's legacy was being protected, analyzed, and sometimes fought over, Snoop's appearance beside her didn't look random. It looked intentional. To understand the reaction, you have to go back to the moment Nipsey was taken from his community, a moment that didn't just take a rapper, but a leader who was building something far bigger than music. When someone becomes bigger than their block, the aftermath is complicated. Love grows, but so does jealousy. Loyalty grows, but so do fractures. Right after Nipsey's passing, his brother Black Sam stepped in as the guardian of everything Nip built. He wasn't just grieving, he was safeguarding.
That disrespect, bro. When you in their presence, you better smack. In their presence, ain't nobody disrespected, bro.
Black Sam made it clear he wouldn't allow Nipsey's empire to be disrespected or manipulated. These weren't empty statements, they were warnings. He knew how people would move. He knew how fast certain figures would try to step in. Nip's whole empire wasn't made of just business plays. It was built on relationships, and relationships can break under pressure. Even people close to Nip found themselves at odds. Brick Baby openly admitted he clashed with Black Sam, and that clash was rooted in the question of loyalty, a reminder of how Nip's passing forced people into positions. Lines were drawn. Alliances were questioned. Grief mixed with suspicion and created tension in every direction.
It basically was like, you rocking with him? Like, you rocking with him? I'm rocking with my brother.
That's what Nipsey's passing did. It shook people until loyalties were tested. And then came a major claim from Charleston White. He said the part no one wanted to speak on. That Nip's downfall wasn't just the act of one person, but pressure and envy from within his own surroundings. That idea changed everything, because if jealousy played a role, then Nip's empire wasn't only dealing with outside threats, it was dealing with internal ones. And this is where the industry's hand becomes clear. As Nip's family protected his legacy and the streets argued over loyalty, the music world saw an opening. Nipsey represented independence. He owned his masters, his brand, and the very community he invested in. That made him powerful and dangerous in an industry built on control.
All the big homies in the set was jealous of Nip, because all the young Nip. Nip got bigger than the program, so Nip got clipped.
Then came Suge Knight's claim from prison. He suggested that Puffy influenced Nip's circle by introducing heavier substances to the environment, not to celebrate, but to destabilize. And then he went further, saying Snoop had been moving in the background, even trying to help Kef D, known for speaking on the Tupac case, because Kef was revealing too much. Weeks after Nip's death, tension in Los Angeles was thick. The Marathon store became sacred ground, but also symbolic ground. Who had the right to represent Nip? Who was protecting him?
Puffy the one got these dudes on hardcore drugs. He was introducing these guys to different type of level of drugs.
Who was using his name? Social media became a battleground. A single mural picture could spark accusations. Someone claiming they were close could be called a fraud.
I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to nobody county jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life? Hell no.
It was chaos, and that chaos was the fallout of a power vacuum. People expected Lauren to understand that she now held Nip's legacy publicly. She was the torchbearer. That made anyone standing too close to her look suspicious to some and strategic to others. So when Snoop appeared next to Lauren, people didn't see comfort. They saw positioning. 6. To many, Snoop wasn't just being supportive, he was aligning himself with Nip's legacy. And if you consider Sooj's past accusations, some believed Nip wasn't just taken out by a single act. They believed he was weakened by forces much bigger than the neighborhood. And Sooj had accused Snoop of playing both sides before. That made the footage hit harder. It wasn't the clip itself, it was everything behind it. To the family, it felt like an outsider stepping in. To the streets, it looked like shifting power. To the industry, it looked like opportunity. And to fans, it lined up with rumors they'd been whispering since 2019. And people know Snoop's history. Tupac's passing in 1996 has been discussed for decades, and somehow Snoop's name always circles that conversation. When Pac was alive, Snoop called him a brother. They worked, partied, and performed together. But behind the scenes, Snoop kept ties with people Pac saw as enemies. 7. For example, Big Dre, reportedly involved with Kef D, was someone you'd expect Pac's circle to avoid. But Snoop made music with him after Pac passed. During Pac's final days, he and Snoop weren't on good terms, yet after Pac's death, Snoop became one of his loudest mourners. He reshaped his narrative to stay tied to Pac's legacy. That pattern didn't end there. Snoop repeatedly exaggerated stories, misrepresented events, or created moments that didn't actually happen. He once claimed Pac introduced him to blunts, even though others said he had been using them long before. Napoleon from the Outlaws called out several of Snoop's stories, saying Pac was respected in prison, not disliked as Snoop claimed. Nas confirmed that Snoop's story about Pac confronting him at the 1996 VMAs was false. It became a pattern. When legends passed, Snoop stepped forward with emotional stories that elevated himself. 8. Snoop did the same with Biggie, sharing stories that didn't align with accounts from people who were actually there. Gene Deal questioned why Snoop claimed closeness with Biggie.
That night. When you look at it, Dad said that, hey, we weren't going. Snoop was on, death row, basically Tupac and everything above. And something gonna happen.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Warren G says that Snoop was at his house watching the fight, and he had the walkie-talkie, the radio.
Even though they never hung out when Biggie was in LA. That pattern leads straight back to Nipsey Hussle. After Nip's passing, Snoop called him his dear brother, dropped a tribute, and placed himself close to Nip's memory. But at the same time, Snoop stayed connected with Big U, someone Nip had distanced himself from. Nip reportedly didn't want to be under Big U's influence, and people believed tension rose from money, pressure, and control. Yet Snoop and Big U were still aligned. Once again, the same pattern appeared. When a legend lives, Snoop interacts with their rivals. When that legend passes, Snoop shifts close to their legacy. Some started saying Nip's death wasn't just the result of one person acting alone. They felt it was connected to multiple pressures around him. Fans began linking it all together, the footage of Snoop and Lauren looking close, rumors of Lauren being connected to powerful industry figures, Snoop's history with Pac and Biggie's circles, and the idea that Nip faced pressure from people with influence. The more people revisited the details, the more they believed Nip's passing had layers. Many felt Nip wasn't just lost, he was taken at a moment when he was empowering others. Nip represented hope. He showed artists they could stay independent, own their work, invest in their communities, and still reach success. That made him a leader. That made him influential. And influence always attracts pressure.
But yet still, Big came out to California, and you don't see not one picture of him and Snoop together. You don't see not one place where they smoked a blunt together. Both of them like to smoke. We was in the studio with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Snoop never came over there. So you tell me, was they really that cool? Or it was just a facade that was put up?
When Nipsey was taken from the culture, fans around the world mourned deeply. People gathered at the Marathon store, leaving letters, candles, messages, and murals. His impact wasn't limited to LA, it spread across the world. Athletes, artists, politicians, and global communities honored him. Nip represented possibility. He proved you could rise while lifting others. Victory Lap had earned him widespread recognition, awards, and respect. He was building businesses, investing in real estate, supporting tech programs, and pushing a new blueprint for ownership. Nip wasn't just an artist, he was a visionary. And he was just getting started. That's why his loss felt so heavy. He wasn't only building for himself, he was building for the future.
It's crazy how the streets don't love it, but we still be loving the streets and shit.
Fans were heartbroken, but they were also frustrated. They felt something wasn't right. As tributes poured in, whispers grew louder. People started connecting dots, industry pressure, jealousy from the streets, internal friction, unresolved tensions, and powerful individuals who had been around Nip. That's why fans today aren't satisfied with simple explanations. They believe Nip's influence threatened certain people, and that his passing might have involved more than one moment or one person. The footage of Snoop and Lauren only added fuel. It wasn't the clip itself, it was everything surrounding it. Snoop's past with Pac. His narrative shifting. His ties to people Nip didn't trust. Lauren's connections being questioned. And the idea that Nip's vision was cut short by forces bigger than anyone expected. People aren't just mourning Nipsey. They're demanding to know the truth about what happened to a leader who represented hope, independence, and strength. Nipsey always said the marathon continues, and even after his passing, those words became a global message. Murals, tattoos, songs, and movements kept his vision alive. But the hardest part is accepting how much was lost, not just a person, but a future. Some fans believe the people closest to Nip may have played roles they never expected. And that's why the conversation continues today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out more of our content. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.